What we're doing today is we're having us a little drink, just like grown folks do at the end of our day. But we're trying to stop with the alcohol as much as we've been doing. We young, we like to party, but some days we got to take a little bit of a break. So today we're going to be taking that break with mixin, MXXN, at Enjoy MXXN. This is a 420 friendly beverage that's comparable to what we like to drink, which is gin. Okay. This one is the London Dry Essence. Okay. She is floral aromas with refreshing citrus, juniper, and cucumber. So today we're drinking on the Uncle Tommy Collins.
Yeah, so this is the Uncle Tommy Collins. Kudos to Zar for coming up with that amazing name. We just did a play on their Mom Collins. So when you go on their website, they have different versions of what they use to replace X alcohol. So whether they have a gin replacement, a vodka replacement, a bourbon replacement, or whatever the case may be. So we obviously, like she said, got the gin. One of their suggestions was the Collins that we made, and we just basically replaced a little bit. So we did 2 ounces of the London Dry. We did an ounce of the lime and a simple syrup, and then we topped it off with our own cran mango.
Which made it Uncle Tommy.
Which made it,
for the hood buggers.
Which made it what it was. And so we appreciate them for supplying the drinks on tonight. They also sent us a little card. So that was very nice, and said that it is now available in 37 states.
Just make sure you try them out. We'll let you know if we feeling the glow at the end of this episode. Okay. But make sure you follow them at Enjoy Mixin, MXXN. Okay. These drinks are supposed to be mixed with whatever your favorite cocktail is. It's supposed to be mixed in. Okay. So drink responsibly. We staying in the house tonight, and we're going to talk about Ready to Love. Cheers, Daddy.
This is very good, actually.
I'm nervous. Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome back to our channel. I'm your girl, Intisar Eleanor. This is my beautiful husband, Joseph, and we are back, and we're talking all things Ready to Love. This is season 8, episode. I don't even know what season or episode this is. I ain't gonna lie. We're just in here, and we're watching this. And on this episode, the women have the ability to send home a man for not being ready to love. And this was a relatively good episode because what we had the opportunity to do was see everyone's friends, get to meet their friends, get to understand the dynamic that they have with the people that they love. How do you feel about, how important is it that friends of your person or somebody you're dating likes you?
I don't think it's that important at all.
Oh, okay.
I think they do, like we talked about last week, I think they do a lot of stuff for ratings, things that are going to make good TV, good drama. I think the Friends situation is trivial. You know what I mean? Like,
But you don't feel like it's important. So, like in your everyday life, not even in this, but in your everyday life, you don't think it's important that your friends like me.
The thing about being a couple and being married is you come in with your own world and your own environment, and then as you guys become one, you create an entirely separate environment and what we call a love bubble that is 100% curated by this new entity that is so and so and so and so. Right. So when I say that, it's funny. We was watching a show, and I saw one of her friends.
One of who friends?
One, I can't remember who it was, but one of the young lady's friends was married.
Quinn. We're talking about Janelle's friend.
Okay, so Janelle's friend, and I said that's what we don't see enough of on this show. And she said, "What?" And I said, "Married couples, like married couples."
Yeah.
And I say that because when you are in a relationship, especially a marriage, the majority of your friends become other married people.
True.
Right?
Like you just start dating married.
Your lives just
Yeah.
just mess up, and it's not that you shed your single friends,
Right.
But this
1,000%.
new environment that you're creating that is going to incubate and literally be the conduit for your new life, right? This is all. Most of that is going to be, surrounded by other couples, unmarried and married couples.
Yeah.
So when I say it doesn't matter to me, that's the space I'm coming from. Like, it's just like going to college from high school. It's not that you dislike those friends and those friends aren't good anymore, but you're in a new environment. So your friendships from college, you're going to form a whole new set of friends that makes sense for where you are in that point in life, right? So when they come in on here and they meeting others, most of these people are other single people or other dating people. I just don't, it just doesn't matter to me. Like, you know what I mean? And I'm saying this from a perspective of a married man. Like, this does not matter. Many of my friends that we do life with today, a lot of them are either married or in relationship.
Yeah.
And friends that I had when we first started talking, most of those friends are not that we're not still friends, but they don't frequent our daily.
The function has changed.
Yeah, they don't frequent our daily life. So to me, it's trivial,
Yeah, I dig that. I do think it's relatively important to see how people are. Like, my thing is, like, I really do believe you are the company that you keep. Like, some part of your personality is representative of these other people and vice versa, right? So I do see the value in meeting someone's friends, because then I can see what type of mother jumper you are. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, like, you talk this way, but in truth, you're like that, right? Granted, with each person that may change, or your values may change, or whatever. But I do think there's something to meeting these people. And I'm kind of glad that the men had the opportunity to meet some of these women, because I feel like this is all very surface. I don't know if you guys are feeling like, as we're watching this, none of these people are getting increasingly more deep. So, like, to meet people who are an extension of them in the real world, I feel like is giving us a different insight into these people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think that the lack of depth is due to the lack of seriousness of a lot of these meetings.
Oh, it's not. You
understand what I'm saying? Like, with all due respect, when me and Zar was dating, I could give a hell less what her friends thought of me, what her girlfriend from so and so. You know what I mean? I care. You know what I cared about? Cared about what does her family think about me? What does her sister think about me?
Okay.
How does she feel with my sister? You know what I mean? And these are the relationships that are, like I say, a lot of our friends from when we were just dating and stuff, we don't see them. But guess who I see all the time? Her brother.
Yeah,
guess who I talk to all the time? Her dad. So I think a lot of these meetings are very unserious.
But I think they not that serious yet, where they could be meeting dads and brothers and.
But I think that in the context of this show,
it's like, why?
They are, because if you're Janelle and you're like, I want to get married tomorrow, that's something that has to be, you got to start building these relationships. Otherwise, these people start feeling like you got married to this guy and we have no clue who he is.
Which also, that's a very good point. And I think that also lends to, it was a very good idea for Janelle to pick her friend Quinn, who had been married for 13 years, to come and be a part of this process with her. I think that was very smart.
I do too.
Because not that I think that, married women, I just think that everybody has a different perspective. Like, everybody in your life, whether they're married or not. You know what I mean? So you'll get a specific perspective from people who are not married or haven't been in a long-term relation. And you'll get another perspective from people who have been in long-term relation or married. You know what I mean? Or somebody who's the mother of somebody's child or father of somebody's child. Everybody will give something different. And I think that her providing this particular person with this particular insight, I thought that was very smart on her behalf. And I don't understand why more of them didn't do that.
Yeah, I agree.
So I do think that, we'll start it off right. The first meeting was with Kat, her friend Allie, okay? And she met with Phil. And who was the other guy she met with? Phil and Herbert.
Right.
Okay, so I want to tell y'all, I don't know if I said this to y'all out loud, but I did say this to Joe. Did I say this out loud? Herbert, so before everybody got to whatever they feel about Herbert, I said this episodes ago. Herbert gives me the kind of guy that is a commodity. So because he knows he's a commodity, he treats everybody like this because he's the prize. You know what I mean? I don't have to give you that much attention because you still gonna want my attention. I don't have to do this because you still gonna want it whether or not I want it or not. And all I gotta do is exist. I want y'all to know I said this weeks ago.
Yeah. We actually talked about it on last week's video.
I did?
I think we did.
I don't remember.
I think we did talk about it, and so now we're starting to see that a lot of the women are parroting the same experience with Herbert. And even one of the friends said, he gives off that he's a playboy or whatever. So that all of that is just kind of coming to fruition. So it makes sense that his destiny was what it was.
How do you feel about, I think one of the bigger conversations during this episode was, I think it was a theme about how women show up and, a man being able to support a woman and financially, emotionally, everything like that. How do you feel that came up with both Aries, Chris, and what's his name?
Maria? Is it Maria?
No. Aries is dating Chris and Phil. And it also came up again with Jessica, Chris, and Mariette. How do you feel about, it came up quite a few times, as well as with Kat and Phil.
Right.
So how do you feel about women asking about what support looks like of a man?
I think that's an important question to talk about, especially when you are, thinking about being serious with somebody, because I think a lot of times it's just a breakdown in communication. Expectations kill the cat is what I always say, so if you guys are having these conversations early on and expressing what are your expectations when we're doing life together, I think it's important a conversation to have. I'm glad that they had it. And
I too think it's very grown. I do think, my feeling is this. I don't need you to be in a place right now where you could do all the things. I need to know that your only desire in life is to see me thrive. Like, we're going to get to it. Because if you're worried about me thriving and I'm worried about you thriving, we're going to thrive. So for me, as long as we have the understanding that I will never suffer, I'm never going to go without, I'm always going to have the things that I want. And that's because you want to provide them to me, whatever that looks like. We're going to be all right. Is that too much?
No, that makes sense.
You know what I mean? And I do think that as you're getting older, you should absolutely lead with that. I think that, when you're a young girl, you can do certain things or whatever the case may be. But the older you get, you have to know, what does support look like on your side? Because as a woman of a certain age, 50-50 ain't hot. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I need to know that you're a man who wants to take care of your household. Like, you're a grown man. You got to pay where you lay, period. So I think that it's good that these conversations are coming up the way that they are in such a, I think, nice way, because I don't think anybody asked it in a disrespectful way at all.
No. It's all about the intent behind it. I don't feel like everybody, a lot of times people's negative response to the line of questioning is the intent behind it, where they feel like, what are you trying to get at? What are you here for?
Right.
But I think all of these ladies asked it in a way that was talking about relationship building.
Right.
And not sponsorship.
Which I don't think is anything wrong with that. I think we have to get back to normalizing the fact that men want to be masculine when they feel like being masculine, but that's without, they want to tell you what to do, but they can't tell you what to do. They want to tell you what to do, but they don't pay no bills. They want to tell you what to do, but they don't fix any goddamn thing. They want to tell you what to do, they don't clean nothing up. So I do think that there is something to just being straight up. Like, you know what I mean? I don't think it's anything wrong with sponsorship, because what we fail to realize is that men ain't going into anything and not receiving something. That ain't even of their character.
So
I don't even like the word sponsorship.
Yeah, but it's a different thing. Relationship building is different from sponsorship. Like, you know what I mean? So that's what I mean. Like, these women are here to me to build relationships.
Yeah,
to
you
build
could
families,
tell.
To build home.
Except for Sierra. I don't know what she here for.
Except for Sierra, and that's especially from most men. Yeah. That's what's going to get the honey. It's not going to be leading with the sponsorship.
I don't know that I agree with that. I think that most men want you to be men. They operate in a certain way, and they like clear lines too. I don't think men like operating in the gray. I think if this is the decision, if this is the arrangement that we
in the gray. I'm saying that the way that you pose the question is how
matters.
Absolutely, because most men in this situation are looking for a partnership. They're looking to build something with somebody.
Yeah.
So if somebody is looking to build something for you, they're not immediately focused on one thing only. What can you do for me? And that's not how they posed it. They posed it as a security thing. Most men want to be security. It's very different from wanting to be Hugh Hefner. It's a different thing. That's what I'm saying. There's a difference.
Yeah. Do you think that the men felt? Do you think that there's a disparity between like women needing that kind of support and men needing that kind of support?
Yeah, I think, like you said, we talked about this a little while ago too. The things that men and women value are just different. You know what I mean? There's not many men I know who go into a conversation asking a woman what she brings to the table. You know what I mean? Or what does
I think nowadays men are asking women that. Women did not make that up.
Well, they aren't. But I'm saying that.
No, you aren't.
I'm saying that most men do not care, right? Like they are first looking at other things. Like Chris was saying, how do you treat me when I come home? How do you support me in my job? And we're not talking, 9 times out of 10, we're not talking financial support. We're talking other types of things.
Yeah, true.
Most men if there was a pie, most men's pie isn't going to be, what is your financial support? It's going to be a lot of other things before we get there. And for women, that might be what it is. So I just think men and women value things differently, especially at this point in life. Most of these men are already established and in their work. They don't really care how you can support them financially.
True.
They're worried about, if I'm talking to you about a business thing, how are you going to respond to me then? How are you going to support me then? So it's just different values.
Or what support outside of that looks like. Right. So do you think that there is a way that a man could say, what do you think? Because Phil answered the question. So Kat's friend asked Phil, like, if she's, pops up and get pregnant, how do you feel about that? He said, well, he's open to more children, whatever the case may be. But then she goes on to ask, well, would you be in a place where you could support a family where she wouldn't have to work or anything like that? Do you think that that's too forward of a question or too soon of a question? And is there any way that a man can answer that by saying, hell no?
I think that this is not a question that I should be answering from your girlfriend. To me, those are deep, serious questions. That's tantamount to, what would you do if we got pregnant? How do you feel about abortion? Like, these are serious things that to me shouldn't be shared at a coffee table with somebody. So I dig that. I really don't like the messenger and the environment to answer these type of serious ass questions.
I don't feel like anybody asks really good questions. Like, I don't even think asking what do you like about her is a good question.
I agree. I
don't even think that's a good question. I think that's for ego. I think we need to know the real stuff. What's your relationship like with your mama? Right. You know what I mean? What's the relationship Phil, you got kids. What's the relationship you got with your mama, your baby's mamas?
Right, because it turns into an orator contest.
Right.
And so literally the person with the best tongue and the best spiel wins, and that's who you go home with. Exactly. They sound it's a lot of fast talking trash ass men out here.
It's some real things we could be asking.
Who can make it sound really good when you ask them a certain line of questioning. That doesn't mean that that's the guy for you, because he knows how to wrap it up in a bow verbally.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So that's why I really don't love this type of setup either, because these women that are the friends, they don't know these dudes from a can of paint. So they're literally going, it turns into a pageantry. I didn't like how he answered that question. Well, I like how they said that.
Right. Like, as opposed to actually getting to know these people. Like, you know what I mean? And granted, I get it. I'm certain that most of these questions was kind of fielded through people, whatever the case may be. Sure. But I do think that there are bigger things that we could be asking, because in truth, at this stage of the TV show, do y'all feel like y'all know any of these people?
Right.
outside of me following Janelle online and having followed her before, I followed Janelle prior to this. Having followed her before, I know much more about her now, but I don't feel like it was from this show.
Right.
If I'm being honest, like, you know what I mean? I feel like we're missing opportunities on the journey of love to getting to know, like getting down to traumas and talking about things that really matter.
Yeah.
Like, why don't we know why Aries got a divorce?
Right.
Granted, it's really none of our business, but who's producing this? Somebody should be asking these questions, like, you know what I mean? Do you want to be married? Did we ask her? Do she want to be married again yet?
Yeah, right.
I don't even know if we know that.
I don't know that we heard that.
So, like, those kind of things, I feel like should come up. I don't know. I felt like the questions were a little bit light.
Yeah,
I think
surface.
It was very surface. So that's why we're kind of like drawing this out on our opinions, because what they was talking about wasn't giving much.
Yeah.
So, but I did like that Quinn, Janelle's friend, asked, and shout out to Janelle for laying that seat with her girlfriend at. Herbert a little slow. Okay. Asked him how he feels, what's his timeline for marriage and kids. I think he's a 37-year-old man. If you don't have a timeline for that, you don't have vision. And if you're a man without a vision, without a roadmap at 37 years old, you can kick fucking rocks. I just feel that way.
Who else was on that date?
Quentin.
Okay, Jack. I like how Jack answered the question. She said, "What do what's your timeline?" And Jack said, I don't want to butcher what he said, but he said something to the effect of, when it can happen.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
It'll happen when it can happen.
Yeah.
And I think that's just saying, like, if we're aligned, we're walking in lockstep. You and I have created a foundation. No, at 37, 42 years old, it should not take you 5, 6, 10, 11 years to figure out if this is I don't think it should take anybody that long, unless you're young.
Yeah.
I think once you pass about 32, I think you can meet somebody and get married within, like, at this point, we grown.
Yeah, I think I liked Jack's answer because I like that he also had an air of intention behind it.
Yes.
But he also wasn't trying to like put a number on it, right? Because I think that's what turns people off about the conversation, because like we make plans and God laughs, as the saying goes. So I like that he was able to emphasize that in his line of questioning and in his response.
But I feel like you're only intimidated by the timeline if it's not in your timeline at all. The truth of the matter is, if you know that you're going to accomplish something, you have no problem talking about it.
I don't think it's an intimidation thing. I just think that people start to feel like, you know what?
Pressure.
This is like, I go back to expectations killed the cat. People start to feel like trying to put a timeline on love and relationship is an unrealistic measurement, right? So you can set a goal for something, but to say like, we met today and we better be married and engaged in 6 months or 8 months or whatever, you know what I mean? Rather than speak about it, you can speak about it with the same urgency like Jack did, with same intention, without doing it. That's why I liked how he did it. You know what I mean?
I think that's a cop out. I think you will put a timeline. I think that whole line of like, putting a timeline on it could, like, why are we reducing? It's not even about urgency. See, urgency gives a negative connotation. It's more about urgency gives a negative connotation.
That's my point.
I should be able to talk to a grown man about what's happening in 6 to 8 months, and he feel nothing about it except for grown man answers. Period. You shouldn't feel like, that's too much for me. I got a little. Ain't nobody asking you for no money. Ain't nobody doing none of that. All I'm saying is my timeline is, you can get down or lay down. My timeline is, at the end of the year, I would like to be married. If that does not align with you, you have to say nothing else but that don't align with my timeline, and you could get the fuck on. But for you to continue to sit here and then you want to continue to kind of, what's the word I want to say? Act like you have interest in me after I've expressed what my timeline is, I think that's whack. I think it's whack. And I think the idea that at 37, you don't have an idea. You're a man.
Oh, I'm not talking about Herbert. I'm
talking about Herbert.
I'm talking about Jack, because I thought you were saying that Jack was copping out.
Oh, no.
I'm saying,
I didn't think he said nothing wrong.
I don't think his answer was a cop out.
I don't think he said anything wrong.
Yeah.
Because previously he also said that's not unrealistic.
I think that you said that it brings negative connotations. Urgency. And that's my point. I think that does make some people nervous. And I think that's what Herbert's issue is.
But I think you don't feel like this is your life. Who you have in your life, what is more the most precious commodity that you have is your time. So you're trying to tell me you don't mind wasting time with me. You don't mind wasting time with me. But the moment I decide that I want to say this is the roadmap for which I think we should go, that's an issue?
So are you saying that Herbert was wasting time?
I'm saying he is saying that, well, it'll happen when it happens. For me...
No, that's what Jack said.
No. Herbert said, I don't want to put a timeline on anything. Jack said it very differently, where he did say where it'll happen when it happens. Yeah. But Herbert said it in a way where it was like, we'll see where we at.
So Herbert said, she said, do you want to get married or do you want to have fun? And Herbert said, I want to have fun on the way to marriage. That's what he said.
But that was with somebody else. That was with Sierra. That was not with Janelle. With Janelle,
that's his general disposition.
That is his general disposition. Which I don't see any issue with that. But that's what I'm saying.
I don't see an issue.
But it also says to me that you're unintentional, right? Because you too are in a process where you are spending time with people. How do you not go into it thinking, I'm 37 years old. I do not have any children, but you want kids. This is what I want in this amount of time. To me, that lacks vision. And if you are a man that lacks vision, to me, you ain't even really a man.
It didn't sound like he was being unintentional. It just sounded like his timeline was different. Neither one of them, I'm talking about Herbert as well, neither one of them gave a definitive time comparable to what Janelle was saying. That's all I'm saying. So I don't think
in that moment, that was true. In that moment, that is true. You know what it is about Herbert? Herbert is the exact thing.
He's a playboy, or he's giving playboy.
You know what it is?
I don't know. We don't know that he's a playboy.
I don't even know that he's a playboy, and I genuinely actually don't think that he's a playboy. I don't think he's a F-boy. I don't think any of that of him. But he is the exact representation of why black women are having such a hard time finding men. Because that's the man that they go for. Because everybody wants a Herbert. He this height. He handsome. He got a deep voice. And we don't even realize that's just the barometer for which we want to choose a mate. He don't got to have nothing else. He don't got to have vision for you. He don't got to have a timeline for which he don't even got to desire having a wife. Because if you desired it, you would have a timeline. I didn't have to talk to you about getting married because in your mind, you desired having a wife. You had a timeline. Right or wrong?
Yeah, I think that Herbert...
He's here for the vibes.
I don't think he's into any of these women like they're into him. And so that I see them, they pressing him on this stuff, and he really don't want to commit because it seemed like he's really don't feel that strongly about either of them.
And that's why he had to strap up his Timberland boots and kick bricks. Okay? That's exactly why. I think you're absolutely right. I don't think he was really into anyone here. And I think that's okay. You know what I mean? Like, that's okay. I think some people are here for the vibes, and I think that's him and Sierra. But what I want to say is, y'all don't think it was a little bit weird that the previous episode, he told the one girl that she was going home, and then he went home the next episode?
Oh, I didn't even know.
Am I the only one who's like, ooh?
That's awkward.
Right? Isn't it a little awkward? It might be a coincidence, but I just thought it was very awkward. So let's move on to another, I guess, friendship date. I want to talk about Mariah going on a date with Jessica and Chris and her friends. This is why I like Mariah, y'all. I'm not going to lie. Mariah came. He took responsibility for putting Jessica in an uncomfortable situation the previous week. And he gave her a gift of a candle and just said, in front of everybody, which to me I thought was big. He either unbelievable narcissist or he's just really a nice guy. Or he's just really a nice guy, because I thought that was, as much mess as I talked about that whole scene, I thought that was such a big thing to do.
Yeah.
Just to come in and say, you know what, I apologize. He said, I don't apologize for what I believe in. I apologize because I didn't come to you a specific way and let you know that prior to us going into a situation like that. That to me was, I thought that was just so gentlemanly. I don't know.
Stuff like this is where I draw my opinions from when I make statements about, oh, he or she, I don't believe he or she is ready for marriage or ready for a serious relationship. It's how you handle conflict, right? Like, I think it was Unique that got cut the other week. I thought she was terrible at handling conflict and communicating her feelings. So that was my main reason for saying I don't think she's ready to be married or ready to do this, because that's a real.
She didn't even want conflict.
That's a real indicator of how you'll make your way through life with another person,
right?
And for him, he was kind of the complete opposite of what I saw with Unique, where everything was argumentative, everything was everybody else's fault. He was just like, he owned up to it. He wanted to fix the issue and move past it.
Yes.
And he did that at the table. So I thought that that was big of him, and that's, to me, that's an indicator that somebody is really ready to do marriage.
So they asked Chris, what about Jessica gives you like wife vibes? And Chris couldn't come up with 2 adjectives outside of she beautiful and she sexy. I thought it's getting increasingly clearer that Chris is not as into Jessica any longer. And I'm proud of her because she also recognized this ain't it. You know what I mean? You can't even say why you like me. What about me? You could see as a partner or companion.
I thought that. So one, it goes back to what we were talking about, the pageantry. Chris is not going to win anybody's orator conversation, anybody's challenge, right?
That's true, because he talks slow too.
Yeah, he just is not a talker. You know what I mean?
You can tell.
So it's like in life, some people are great test takers and some people are just good at executing in life. You know what I mean? And Chris is just not that person that's going to sit in front of you and give you the monologue that you want to hear. He just never seems like that guy to me. He's very reserved. He gives kind of shy. Not the guy that has a lot of word. Whereas
he does give shy.
It's almost the opposite of that, right? So one, I thought that was a big disconnect. 2, I thought the big disconnect was Chris has communicated his feelings about Jessica to Jessica on multiple occasions.
And Jessica repeated it to her friends because he was like, oh, y'all been talking?
And Jessica obviously does not want to hear him at all. So it seems like, one, a lack of accountability on Jessica's part, because she won't even address what he's saying. And then somehow she flipped it onto it being a Chris issue, right? Because she wasn't hearing or understanding what he was saying. I'm glad that they both realized at the end that they are not for each other.
I am too.
But obviously for different reasons.
My thing is though, so he expressed even at the table that he needs somebody to show him their more vulnerable side, and he recognizes that she's a boss and she has to be an authority figure at her work, but he wants to see a different side. How do you feel? I think Jessica is who she is in every day. I'm just starting to believe that this is just who she is.
I think that this is part of the reason why he was having a hard time nailing down what type of wifey attributes he saw. And I think that that's it right there. Like he couldn't. I can't give you anything because my biggest issue with her is something that I can't see past and she can't acknowledge that it's even there. Is that I only get the business side of her.
That's a good point.
So a wife to me, it might look like a very different thing, and I just don't see that here. So I got it.
But even that, I would love to know if this is how she's operated in previous relationships. Like, I think we don't know Jessica.
She must have, and I think that's why she's here. 1,000%. You know what I mean? Like, I think she's a pretty woman.
She is.
She comes off in a room, letting her representative move. She comes off like she can be a candidate for dating and for marriage. But then what is she like in relationship? Like, you not being able to turn it off is an issue. And so to me, that's the reason why she's darn near 40 years old and is signing up on the show to be one of 50,000 singles.
I don't know. I often think about this. I got I'm really thinking because inversely, Marie said like he doesn't mind being on or Jessica and how strong-minded she is. That's the type of woman that he likes to be with, and he doesn't need. I think he said something to the effect of weak-minded individual, and I don't know that. I don't know that being more vulnerable. I don't want to say softer because Jessica is soft. I just think this is her display of soft. But I
don't think she's soft at all. I think her issue is she doesn't know how to be soft. And I think that, again, this was a war of words where Marie, I don't think either one of these men have been in intimate enough situations with her to even remotely experience her softer side. So neither one of them can speak from that place, I don't think, at this point in the show. And I think Marie heard what Chris said and completely overcorrected by saying, I don't want you to be weak-minded. When, if you understand anything about what Chris was saying, it had nothing to do with her being weak-minded or less of a strong-minded person. Okay. You know what I mean? So to me, it was like when you watch the debate and somebody says, you know what? I think we need to stop focusing so much on our borders and focus on our education system. And then the person responds that's standing next to them says, I'm not about open borders. That's not what they said. They didn't say open the floodgates. You know what I mean? So it was a little.
I also don't understand why that was something to share with your friends either, though.
Yeah.
Like, right. I don't think he's. I mean, now, from what we're watching, he maybe said something off color, off camera. She
was offended by it when he said it in the moment. She vehemently disagrees and does not even want to literally take inventory of these type of criticisms. She completely rejected it when he said it. But I can tell she went back to friends, and I can almost tell you how the conversation went. You know what I mean?
So let's talk about Lee meeting up with Quentin and her friend Muffin.
I'm not calling her Muffin. I don't.
I mean, that's mother. Mama call her Muffin. I'm gonna call her Muffin.
I'm not calling her Muffin. Her mama didn't name her Muffin. I guarantee you,
her mama might have named her Muffin.
I guarantee you, her mom didn't name her Muffin. Somebody find it.
I'm gonna call her Muffin
because that's not her name.
So this is my thing about Lee, right? This baby really is underwhelming, and she is getting increasingly clearer that, first of all, Quentin is not interested.
He's not. Nobody really is, if we being honest.
But it's so odd to me because to me she's such a physically.
She's gorgeous.
I think so.
But gorgeous with no personality only goes so far.
But it's weird. Like, I don't know if she's shy. You think she's shy?
I don't think she's shy. I just think, I mean, it could be. That's not what because of cameras and stuff like that, you never know how the filming is affecting somebody. We've seen it in the past on various shows that it comes out later that their personality was drastically affected by the process, right? Mm-hmm. So that's definitely in play. I don't see that from her. I get that. She's one of those women who just, especially in a room full of very personable women and outgoing women, she can easily get lost. And
But she was lost at her own house. Like, we watching her at home, and I'm like, girl, say something. Yeah,
she don't really have. She's kind of forgettable.
And it's sad because it's very clear to me, somebody in our comments, and girl, don't beat my butt, but let me know that they do go on dates outside of this. They just don't, obviously it's an hour show, so they can't put everything in. So that to me says that people are going on dates with Lee and they're bored to death.
Yeah, because they're not.
I wish I had a booty like that and I wasn't. Baby, the Lord knew.
She don't have a person. She just don't.
I can't even understand. Like, girl, you too damn fine to be sitting up here talking to a man that ain't even interested in you while your girlfriend Muffin flirt with him. Is it me or was they flirting? She like, oh yeah, what the fuck? It's so funny. I'm like looking around, I'm like, girl. So then Lee says, I don't even think Muffin. I think Muffin was distracted by his muscles. She wasn't even asking him the right questions. So let me say,
you thought he was flirting. She was flirting.
Hello. Can I say this though? And this is a historical thing for me, and this might be me speaking from a place of privilege, but I've never in my life met a man that fine. I don't understand how people get like, like, what am I gonna say, or what I'm gonna do, or I need to miss my words. Like what? Like I don't. Girl, we gotta get to the nitty gritty. You up here like laughing and joking with him. Oh well, she got a brand of her own. How do you feel about her having a brand? What do that? Is this even a question that we should be asking?
These meetings are so unserious. Like, how can you expect somebody to come in and y'all want these dudes that sound like Barack Obama at the podium? And he's fielding questions from somebody named Muffin.
I'm gonna be honest, y'all. I'm feeling glowy. I'm feeling the glow. My underarms is.
What are you talking about?
You're absolutely correct. Like, we can't expect these men to be Barack, and then we coming in and giving Eastside High. You know what I mean? Like, what movie is that from? Who was in that movie, Eastside? What movie is that from? Do you know what movie that's from?
No.
Lean on Me.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, so I really do feel like, it's weird because I like Quentin. I like what Clinton brings to the table. It's just... y'all grown women, y'all ain't been in the presence of a good looking man and had to ask, you know what I mean? Like, we trying to figure out if he the one. But Leah's going home.
Yeah, Leah's definitely going home.
Unless she get with Chris, because Chris look like he about to be on the market. Which, in truth, Leah and Chris would look bomb together. And I think they would do all right. It ain't like she talked that much.
Chris doesn't even look Lee's way. I mean, a lot of these guys haven't even brought Lee up for their top, like, throughout the whole season. Like, I don't even remember her being in anyone's top.
I think in the beginning she was.
Oh yeah,
I think the very
they only
first
saw her,
right,
and they're like, she's cute, she's in my top.
Right, and I did, cause she in my top too. But now she kind of like, I don't know. I ain't gonna lie. Aries is my absolute favorite human on this month show. I think she is so poised. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's no BS. It's no like drama. It's like, I think her and Phil and Mariette is the only three here for the right reason. It's only three of them. Who else?
Nah, I think Jack is, honestly, the only two people I don't think is here for it is Sierra and maybe Herbert. Everybody else seems like they might be here for it. They just might be executing it wrong, but they're here for it. You know what I mean?
Right. I guess. I'm just not. No. I'm not. I don't know. Aries just is everything to me. I don't know what it is, but she has a. Do y'all feel it? Is it a vibe? Like, is it an essence? I think you know what it is. Although she's an Aries, you see what I did there? Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm very much aligned. Mm-hmm. With how she is. That's more of the kind of woman I think I am. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, bossy, but like, I ain't gotta be that way. Like, I actually prefer not to. You know what I mean? If I have to be bossy, I'm being nasty too. So, and Joe knows that. Yeah, I know, that's accurate. Like, if I have to make the decision or if I have to do something, I have an attitude about it, like straight up, because I'm doing this all day long. So it's nice to be in spaces where, and I think that's the Jessica thing. I think, if you could tell me what to do, you can tell me what to do. But if you can't tell me what to do, you can't tell me what to do. That's
not her story.
I do think that's Jessica's story.
Jessica does not.
Which that's also a Bible verse.
Jessica, it gives off that she does not know how to turn it off, put it down, hear other people. Just her communication between her and Chris. We sat there and heard how Chris communicated his feelings initially on this entire subject.
Yeah, that's true.
She could not even get remotely close to his level.
But what I'm saying
that's clear. That's a communication thing.
I think that you can tell when people have had relationships with people where they were able to be fully in a certain space, whether that is in their most vulnerable space or whatever. You can almost tell who's experienced that and who hasn't. Because it's easy kind of to tap in. And you can tell who sometimes, maybe not who has been burned per se, but who has had a life experience that may have caused them to be like, no, I'm not leading with that. You know what I mean? Because I think she can be vulnerable. I just don't think she leads with it. And I think that's okay too. You know what I mean? Because I don't think Janelle leads with it.
But Janelle...
But she does it differently.
But the difference between Janelle and Jessica is Janelle has, throughout this process at some point, as hard as her exterior may be, Janelle has been able to show them glimpses that she is fully capable of being vulnerable, of being softer.
Yeah.
If Janelle gives, you're gonna get the fist right now, but I can give you the flower.
Yeah.
But right now I'm gonna give you the fist. So it almost is aspirational for them to get the flower. Right? Because this woman with this hard exterior who ain't, is about her stuff and whoop-de-whoop, is able to tell me she can be 1,000%. And Jessica gives none of that.
Okay. But yeah, the last thing I wanted to ask you about, because this was on Jessica's date and I thought this was a really good point. They asked, how do you get past where you are if you have a negative feeling? What do you think you do to get past where you are if you have a negative feeling? We're currently in retrograde, so
most of the time it's communication. I like to talk stuff out. You know what I mean?
Child, yes he do.
And that's because a lot of the time, and this is just not even relationship in life. When we walk around with stuff weighing our back down, it's because we haven't spoken about it.
Yeah.
We haven't talked it out. We haven't worked it out with somebody else, with a therapist, or counseling, or whatever. Most of those breakthroughs just come from communication, speaking, talking it out, figuring out what is wrong. Why do I feel this way? Why do you feel that way? Did a whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. And then that a lot of times will break the mold and allow you to move on and be free. You be amazed at how a simple conversation will fix such heavy issues. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely the thing.
But I think, what if you're experiencing something personal? Like that has nothing to do with our relationship, but you feel like you're not feeling the most positive.
But I think that communication helps that too, right? Like when I'm feeling like I have to work through something or I'm frustrated with something, I'll talk to my wife about it. You know what I mean? And I might not have been able to do anything about it in that conversation, but just that communication, getting it out there, and then maybe sometimes you just need affirmation that you ain't crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So a lot of times that will make you feel lighter. I remember I had a crazy situation with a partner, and I came downstairs and had a whole breakdown all over my wife about the situation, and then we went out. Now the situation wasn't fixed, but I immediately felt better because I was able to talk it out, communicate how I was feeling, and then we handled it the next day. You know what I mean?
Is that when we got burgers? That was a while ago, wasn't it?
I think so. I don't remember where we went, but we definitely.
Do you feel like I do a good job? Like, I always wonder, like, because sometimes I feel like I don't always understand everything. You know what I mean? So I always wonder, like, do you feel like I do a good job about when you are in negative moments or spaces, kind of helping? Because I'm kind of like, we ain't got nothing to worry about. We can fix all things. And that could be dismissive, I guess, sometimes. So I wonder if you feel like you get the support you need, or what do you need the support to look like? But
that's what I'm saying. Sometimes it's just, being a soft landing place. And this is what Chris is talking about. Sometimes, and you're very good at that, just being, sometimes you might not understand, but you're just being an ear. And it's even the tone that you respond to is very warming, right? And that's something that you need. When Chris says that, I want to experience her softer side, that's really what he's talking about, right? Like, if I can come home and just express these things and not be met with, the executioner, or not be met with the diplomat, it makes me feel a lot better, because I know personally, that's what makes me feel a lot better. If I got something that I need to talk to her about that's weighing on me, that's aggravating me, her tone, her delivery, just an air of understanding, a lot of that makes me feel a lot better, whether or not the situation got fixed in a moment or not.
Where do you think we could improve? Like, how could I improve though? Like, you know what I mean?
On what?
Like, sometimes I could be really, I don't want to say, I suffer a lot, with anxiety and mild depression. So I can be really high and low sometimes. So I know how you support me. And I wonder, obviously that could take some kind of psychological toll on you, right? So I wonder, when you're having moments, do you feel support it.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I almost every time, I feel like I'm able to express myself and be heard, whether or not, you fully understand the scope of what's happening at the time. Sometimes, it takes for you to have some self-reflection to even explain to your partner or anybody what's going on, what you think is going on. And I think you're really good about that, like just being able to communicate how I'm feeling and then, be free enough, at least in that moment, to move on from it. So I think that you already do a great job at that.
I appreciate that. I think that I too can like go through things and perseverate a little bit on like whatever happened in the day or whether or not I'm going to get something done or whatever the case may be. And sometimes it's just that selfishly, I just want our time to be our time. Mm-hmm. Like, I think like we can control. I mean, and this is me being able to say that to somebody else. I don't always operate that way. If I'm being 1,000%, most times I don't. You know what I mean? Most times I don't take this advice, but I know the value in just saying like I can only control this. You know what I mean? And in truth, that's why I would drink something like a mixing cocktail because I can only control what I can control, sis. I'm not about to be out here fighting all these wars. I'm not about to be doing it. Okay? I want to feel the glow. So I'm just like, for real. Like I want to be in a space where I don't want to have to. Sometimes you have to deal with the day's decisions, and sometimes you just got to give it up. Let the ancestors take it on. You know what I mean? Like put it on them. But yeah, I thought this was it was an okay episode. I would talk about Sierra and her friends, but why?
I mean, just more of the same. She really ain't here. I don't even know what she was talking about in the ladies' lounge.
What she say?
You in the presence of a queen. You got to show like.
You better act
what
like
are you talking about. Like,
I don't even know.
Do you have anything instructive to say? Dude, can you give us anything? Next to go home, you talking about somebody stand up because they in the presence. You are about to go home because you are here giving nothing.
And let me keep it 1,000 bazillion gazillion. Sierra girl, call me. You seem like a time. You know what I mean? You seem like my kind of girl. However, you here for the vibes, and I'm here for the vibes of you. Because if all you got is jokes, sis, we gonna eat them up.
That's it.
When he got up front of the table, they was talking about Maria. When he got up front of the table, she gonna say, "I think I'm pregnant."
She was hugging the bull. She was hugging the bull after she hugged him.
She was like, "I think I'm pregnant."
Yeah. She got
hilarious. She is funny and she is stunning, and I like that. I like the balance of the two. So they're gonna keep Sierra on for the vibes because the truth is,
until next week,
we're gonna see what's happening next week. Things are gonna shake it. Things are gonna get shaken up because I think Kat is getting an idea that Phil is not as interested in her as she may want him to be, and I think Phil's getting very keen on Aries. And now that Herbert is gone, that leaves a lot of women with only one contender. So I think it's going to get really hot and spicy next week, and not in the way y'all thinking, your filthy selves. But yeah, I think this was we'll be back next week. How about that?
Before we get out of here, we done got halfway through the glass. What did you think about your mixing cocktail?
So let me say this. Actually,
non-alcoholic mixing cocktail.
Good question, babe. I really, really enjoyed this. And I think I didn't drink it all, guys, because I'm just trying to see.
Because this is the first time we had it.
Right. We don't want to.
Y'all know us. Normally, the glass is empty by the end of the video, but we had to sip because I
don't know what's about to. But I will say this. I'm feeling, if you could tell, I'm feeling a little glowy.
Feeling the glow.
If you're looking for an alternative, guys, you're not somebody who is a drinker. I know so many people who do not drink. I think this is a very, very good alternative because it is completely non-alcoholic. It's some other things.
It's a vibe.
But it's completely non-alcoholic, and I love that. And I love gin, so it's... That sounds terrible.
Yeah. This, like we said, this is the London Dry, which is kind of supposed to be the gin replacement.
Yeah.
But I thought it was, for what we made, it paired well with the citrus vibes of the actual mixing. I like it a lot. And I thought it was light. It didn't overpower you in flavor or anything like that. So
I actually don't taste it at all.
Yeah, so I feel like
to be honest.
Yeah, I feel like regardless of what you use to mix with it, if you mix it right, it'll be a vibe. So I thought this was great. So thanks.
I think yes, thanks to them, and I think you guys definitely need to check them out. When you purchase from them, it really goes. They send a portion of those funds to like underserved communities where Black and brown people were disproportionately locked up. So that's like a big thing they're trying to give back. This is a Black-owned business as well, right? I believe.
I think so.
Enjoy Mixin, MXXN. They have several different flavors, different types. So you can mix and make yourself a cocktail at home, okay? Without the hangover, without the side effect. Are we going so about to say, we going to see.
Well, we going to find out. I didn't even know that their proceeds. Where did you see that?
Come on, bro. I do this for. This is what I do.
Oh, good job, babe.
So yeah, if you have not already, do us a favor, bust down. I'm into Zar Eleanor. This is my beautiful husband, Joseph. We were joined today by Mixin. Okay, so at Enjoy Mixin, bust down, subscribe to this channel, and we'll see you beautiful mother jumpers later.